In recent years, online dating has grown exponentially, and even though a lot of people have made connections on these apps, that doesn't mean that all said connections have been positive. It's not uncommon online to hear stories of men frustrated with online dating, with almost all apps having a significantly higher ratio of men to women. Finding a date can be difficult for a fellow with below average looks, resulting in the app taking advantage of the desperate suitor by upselling him on expensive plans that assure his profile will be shown to more women. This predatory business model, along with the observation of the ease of matches women and attractive men receive, is one of the many factors hypothesized to have caused the rise of incel culture on the internet. And because of this, many have fantasized about catfishing schemes that can cause havoc for the major online dating companies. Our story begins today on June 4th, 2015, when an anonymous user on 4chan became the first to don the name Catfish Man. The author prefaces that his path to villainhood was led by his fate of being a kissless virgin no woman could ever love. To vent his frustrations in life, the man decided to start up an online dating profile with pictures of a man much more attractive than him, to which he was matched within the first 2 minutes to a woman who was tricked by the fake profile. The 4chaner then asked her out on a date to the zoo, instructing her to wait at a specific exhibit. After 20 minutes, she begins to impatiently ask where he is, to which the con man, spying on her in the distance, finally drops the punchline that he is one of the monkeys, with the lady now knowing that she had been duped. As future green text stories showed, the writer would continue his antics, tricking women into making arrangements for dates with chads that would never occur, with the 4chaner eventually developing his own persona and theme song. The story ends with Catfish Man meeting a girl with similar interests who he attempts to take out for an earnest date, only for it to be called off due to an unfortunate series of events. While it's unknown how true this tale is, with certain aspects ranging from unlikely to flat out implausible, the legend of the incel who fought back against dating apps became folklore in their community. Many dreams were had of those fantasizing about donning the mask of Catfish Man themselves, with spiritual successors to the original story being written in the years that followed. Some even began deceiving women for real, using a technique they referred to as chad fishing. Though similar in spirit, these interactions began and ended at the texting phase. No one would be brave enough to take the steps necessary to bring the concept to reality. No one, that is, until 2017, when videos of a real-life version of this caped crusader began to surface on the internet. This real-life catfisher started out like all the others when he posed as a model on Tinder, to which he'd receive a plethora of responses immediately. After choosing his victim, the man would agree to meet them in person, but to the woman's surprise, they would be greeted by a camera being stuck in their face, as a strange man would begin to lecture the would-be lovebird for being shallow, confronting her for the state of the sexual marketplace. To be clear, we are voluntarily blurring out the faces of the women in these videos, a courtesy not present in the original uploads.
Your name? Hi, how's it going? Good. What are you doing here?
What?
What are you're meeting with the bread, right?
Yeah.
You are? Why? Why is that? About what? You know how many girls say the same thing? It's about looks nowadays. That's bullshit.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is about looks.
No, it's
Don't lie to
not.
me. It's about looks.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The confrontation continues for 7 minutes, ending with him venting about his previous relationships before she leaves. The community was shocked by the fact that someone was willing to take this inside meme to the real world, and many assumed it would be a one-off instance, something done just for a fun weekend. However, a quick glance through Catfish Man's profile revealed the instigator to be a serial harasser. His channel was brimming with similarly themed videos, with titles such as Catfishing an Average Girl on Tinder, Calling Her Ugly, and Red-Pilled Hero Catfishes Another Girl on Tinder. The videos were structured similar to that of a To Catch a Predator segment, showcasing private conversations and even intimate videos. This was intentional, with later installments advertised under the title To Catch a Roasty.
Yeah, I catfished you.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Why did you do this? No, you're the male model. Excuse me, can you ask me why did you meet up with a male model? You're like so shallow as fucking. You want to suck his.
While some of these at least had contextual purpose, such as girls overlooking bizarre self-admissions to pedophilia, the combination of including women's names and faces made the cameraman himself a target. The now defunct subreddit Incel Tears attempted to lead the charge with one of the moderators writing, "I'm posting these vids here in the hopes that someone will recognize these places where he's filming, so we can help figure out where he is. I'd love to report him to Tinder for abuse, and to his local police department for harassment." Another user responded, "This guy is mentally ill and should be identified as soon as possible before he hurts someone. If someone can blur out the girl's face and submit the video to Twitter with a relevant hashtag, we could probably get some help." Their call to create a hashtag was something predicted in the original green text story, another indication that life was imitating art. Despite their efforts, they were unsuccessful in uncovering his true likeness. Meanwhile, the incel superhero himself remained undeterred, as he continued producing these videos for the following years. In the summer of 2019, Catfish Man made his first official on-screen appearance in the BBC documentary Inside the Secret World of Incels. Intent on capturing what the underground community was like, filmmakers spent 8 months following its 3 subjects of varying celibacy. The segment on today's subject gave insight into his mind, as he finally spoke at length about his content while donning a mask. He explains to the interviewer, "I pose as a male model, good looking and attractive, and I set up dates. I reel them in. It's as easy as ABC. It's my retribution to all those girls treating me like S. It makes me feel good." Having made a name for himself amongst his celibate brethren, the anonymous man became proud of all he accomplished, eventually accepting his mantle as the famed icon. He gave himself the description on forums: Incel Legend, Incel God, and Incel Hero. However, with a community so stricken with envy and jealousy, it's no surprise that they inevitably turned on him, be it for the attention he received or the ego it had given him. Regardless of the incel community's motivations, his secret identity was eventually unveiled, as his ousting led him to face greater opposition than ever before. We'll learn more about this after a brief word from our sponsor. It's that gift-giving time of year again, and if you're looking for the perfect present to get that special someone in your life, please consider Manscaped. For this video, they actually hooked me up with a bunch of stuff from their all-in-one Performance Package 4.0 kit. While there's plenty of stuff in here that I love to go over, the Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer is the true standout. This waterproof trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology reduces nicks and cuts on the most sensitive regions of the body. On top of this, it includes a super smart cordless charging system that has 30 minutes of juice on a full charge. And let's not forget about the Weed Whacker. It's a wireless nose trimmer with the same skin-safe technology. So to try out this amazing line of products for yourself, go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts when you use promo code MARS at checkout. After a long run of being a menace to quote-unquote Tinder roasties, with the building amount of publicity he was receiving, it was only a matter of time until this troll's identity would be figured out by internet sleuths. But before moving forward, I want to make it extremely clear that much of this investigation into Catfish Man was done by members of Kiwi Farms and incel groups. And while they provide evidence and archives for their claims, these are still allegations and should be treated as such, and I am not making any definitive statements while discussing their findings. In a somewhat unsurprising turn of events, Catfish Man was revealed to be a 33-year-old janitor and novice chess player named Michael Rabidan. It turns out that in spite of his mystique, he hadn't done a great job of covering his tracks online. Mike's real name and face were actually discovered rather quickly by incels when he first went viral, though remained unpublicized. What did come as a shock, however, was what they learned as they continued to speak with him. Through his arrest record, they were horrified to discover that the famed incel hero wasn't an incel at all. He in fact had sex before, even having a previous relationship that ended in a domestic violence arrest and restraining order. As if that wasn't enough, Michael would also boast to incels on Discord that he had sexual encounters 35 consecutive times. He even claimed that his last successful courting occurred during the time frame of his videos. This led to much arguing from people who refused to believe him, since this is a guy named Catfish Man on the internet. In order to prove them wrong, he posted an image of himself intimately touching an ex-girlfriend through underwear, along with her identity. Still skeptical, they decided to contact the woman in the photo, and to the Tinder date from hell's dismay, she began spilling personal information regarding the now demystified incel hero. She claimed that her family had placed a restraining order against him after their breakup, which he continuously violated. This led to him eventually serving 3 days of jail time for cyberstalking. The most disturbing revelation, however, was that at the time of the photo, his ex was only 16 years of age. While Michael had made questionable comments in the past, this was an entirely different level. Upon confrontation, he admitted that she was 16, though reasoned that because her underwear was on, the photo was technically not CP. Following this, they began investigating even deeper, discovering that this was far from the first instance of suspicious activity. Their efforts led them all the way back to June of 2017, when he initially became active in the incel community. As the story goes on Kiwi Farms, he allegedly met a 15-year-old Australian girl through a Discord server. Allegedly, the two began sexting each other in private, convos he then used to try to blackmail her into becoming his girlfriend. She confided to another member, "I am being blackmailed by Catfish Man. If I don't date him, he's going to post all the personal degenerate S I said when we first met." As word began to spread of what he had done, the community decided to catfish him back with a diabolical scheme. As the story goes, fellow trolls posed as federal law enforcement and threatened Catfish Man, stating that he'd be arrested for his crimes unless he filmed himself drinking his own urine. And he actually did as they demanded, recording it as proof. Surprisingly, in spite of all this behavior now being associated with his real name, Mike still had no reservations admitting to other things he had done. On an incel-themed podcast later that year, he claimed that during his time as Catfish Man, he attempted to use a woman's nudes to blackmail her into having sex with him. Though to be clear, at this point in the story, it's difficult to separate the fact from fiction. Following the backlash, Michael eventually began backpedaling before being banned from all incel-related communities for being too toxic. He wrote on his profile for an online chess site that he'd quit catfishing and the incel community for good. But following the creation of threads such as "Who here screams, yelps, and gets angry at their computers," his account was banned for abuse. It's unknown what Michael is up to currently, or if he will ever return to being the Catfish Man. Though even if he did, without the mystique, it simply wouldn't be the same. With that being said, it's clear that his antics will always be remembered in a subset of the World Wide Web. So there you have a little peek behind the curtains of the insane world of incel culture, and maybe I'll cover another one of these subjects at a future point. But until then, I think I'll end the video here. So until next time, thanks for watching.